Hey everybody, so in 2019, like many people, I experienced a resurgence or a revival of Minecraft where Minecraft content started to become popular again. Um, I started seeing a lot of new updates with Minecraft that I really liked. I kind of got this craving to get back into the game because I had played it before a long time ago, even before the update Aquatic. I had played it then, and I ended up kind of like when I originally played the game, I mostly sticked to multiplayer servers. Did a lot of things like survival games and things like that. Stuff I'm pretty sure we all did. And just over time, I moved on to other games, and I ended up uninstalling Minecraft. But like I said, in 2019, Minecraft experienced a resurgence, and I think it was probably July 16th of 2019 that I repurchased the game, and I loaded up this world, and so now that we're June 16th, I think it was June 16th. So now that we're kind of near June 16th, I thought it would be cool to take a look at what my Minecraft world looks like 1 year after its creation. So the first thing I want to take a look at is the days. If you can see right where it says local difficulty on the far end of that statistic, it says day 3114. So that's how many in-game days have passed. So if we divide that number by 365, I've spent like 8.5 in-game years in this world. So in this world, it's been 8.5 years just about. So the first thing I thought would be interesting is if we look at my house. And by the way, I started here because this is whereabouts the point that I spawned in initially. So if we go over to my house over here, and I am just going to pick up this ender chest right here because I was using that for something else, and I wasn't using my silk touch pickaxe. Awesome. Alright, so if we go over to my house over here, which is right over here, you're going to see that it's in the middle of a frozen ocean, and it's got kind of like a dome roof to it and a checkerboard pattern. There it is. And it's got like a mosaic rainbow glass there. So what happened with this was I was going about exploring the world, exploring all the new things that Minecraft added, and I came across this area, and I noticed that there were all these underwater structures right here. So I was like, oh, that's cool, they must have added some new underwater structures that I didn't know about. So I went to go explore those, and then, of course, what happened is all the drowned zombies started spawning near them and attacking me, and I didn't know what drowned zombies were, and I wasn't watching how much breath I had left, and so I ended up drowning there and losing all my items, because I did have some items at this point. I had broken some wood down. As you saw, there was a sunken ship near spawn, so I had looted that ship, and then so I lost all my stuff underwater by drowning. Let me just take my silk touch pickaxe out so that doesn't happen again. So I lost all my stuff by drowning underwater, and basically where this whole house was, imagine it just being this sheet of ice right here, but continuing where this whole house was. Now that sheet of ice is gone, of course, but I ended up drowning under this sheet of ice, so I spawned back, and I kept trying to get my stuff, kept getting attacked by drowned, and eventually it turned nighttime. So what I did was I used whatever wood I had collected. I crafted a crafting table and a chest, and I put a chest right here on the sheet of ice, and I started kind of replacing the ice with whatever loose blocks I had on me, like little bits of cobblestone and dirt. And then so soon I had this platform of just this floating platform of cobblestone and dirt and stuff like that. And so I decided, you know what, I might as well make this my base. And so it grew from there. For a while though, um, it was just like everything was kind of hodgepodge, I guess is the way to put it. It was just this floating platform of cobblestone and dirt, There were a couple of chests, a bed, a crafting table, a furnace. It wasn't really organized. Even now you can see it's not really too organized. In fact, I think this is kind of the original place that the crafting table was. The bed has been moved, but none of the chests are against the wall or anything like you might normally see. Over time, though, I eventually replaced the dirt and the cobblestone with this diorite and andesite, and I also started to explore these underwater structures more after killing all the drowned that spawned near them. And I think if we go over to this building right here, this was the first building that I got into, and I got into it by using doors to breathe, and then I patched in all the holes with cobblestone. And then so this became kind of like the first underwater structure that I could breathe in underwater. Not underwater, but it was underwater, and it had a little air pocket for me. And then as time went on, I went on to explore all these other places, and I kind of tunneled them, or I connected them with these glass tunnels. So, and then I think at some point I decided that I was going to do like a big renovation and really make this like a home base. And that's when all these stone bricks and the glass mosaic and the checkerboard pattern got added. And then I added this staircase up here, and I like the upside down nature of it. It's like not what you usually see. And then so it's got this quartz dome, which was really interesting for me to build because I had never built a dome before, and especially it was out of quartz, which took a lot of quartz and a lot of mining to get that. I do like the contrast of like the checkerboard pattern and the diorite, and then just like this wood and quartz here. This is where I've got my enchantment table and my anvil. I was thinking about putting another portal here, but ultimately I decided not to do that. As you can see, I got a lot of cats in here. That was from a nearby village. I found a cat and I brought it here, and then I found another cat and I made them breed. And then, you know, the cycle continued, and this whole room is filled with cats. This whole room is filled with dogs. This whole room is filled with llamas. I did not kill the wandering traders to get these llamas. I think one of them I actually tamed. The rest broke off the lead from the trader. I've got this cocoa bean farm. This is actually very recent because I just only recently found a jungle biome. And I'm gonna go ahead to sleep to get away that night. And then out here I've got a bunch of horses, and eventually I want to kind of make a greater pasture for all these animals, make like just a wider grassland where they can all hang out. And then I've got these maps over here, or I've got this network of maps over here, and this is kind of gonna map out the world around me. So I think I will just appear as a green dot on here. Yeah, you can see them in the upper right hand corner of that map. You might be able to see some structures over there. That purple thing is a mushroom island, so that's pretty cool. Yeah. And then if we look on the outside here, you can see I've got all these pillager banners here. That was I got most of those back when pillager like parties could just spawn anywhere. And so I just kill them and get the banners. And that was the time when pillager parties spawned with vindicators as well. So, and then if we move to the downstairs area, we can see I've basically just turned this into a storage area. This is like my brewing station. I've got some stuff for brewing there. There's a storage here. Some of the stuff is labeled with signs. A lot of this stuff needs to be labeled. I know that this section has a ton of farming, like carrots, seeds, things like that. This whole room is dedicated to cobblestone. These 3 chests are cobblestone. These 3 chests are diorite, andesite, and granite. These 3 chests are miscellaneous. These 3 chests are also farming. These 3 chests are like wood. These are valuable ores that I have. This is glass. These are items that are from the nether. This is more miscellaneous. This is prismarine. I think this is items from the end. These are just tools, miscellaneous tools, and these are like weapons and armor and things like that. This is more farming. This is sand, clay, gravel, dirt, all that type of stuff. In here, these chests are all cobblestone, I believe. Yep. This is like raw, or these are drops from passive mobs. These are miscellaneous as well. And if we go here, this is all wood, and then this is all cobblestone. So, and then it moves into another downstairs area down here. There was actually a mine shaft running through here, as you can see. I've tried to keep most of it intact, but some of it is not. These are all like rose or poppies rather. These are more poppies and flowers. These are more weapons and armor. This is more like prismarine, stuff like that. This is more mob drops, hostile mob drops, and this is more prismarine and also ice as well in there. And this is another underwater structure that as you can see, most of it was underground already, so I just kept it like that. This area is like, doesn't have a ton of stuff in it, so. And then right here I've got this kind of tree farm. What I ideally want to do with it is expand it so it's like a huge tree farm. It's not cramped like this, and the floor is just hoppers with blocks of dirt to plant the trees, and they all lead back to a chest, so that when I want wood or saplings or sticks or apples, I just come here, chop them all down, and just wait for them to filter into the chest. So I think that's about it for this part of the base. If we head outside, I'll just head outside through here actually. If we head outside, you'll see that I get the conduit power. So getting the conduit was a kind of a cool achievement for me, and I can breathe underwater. I do have a couple other conduits in other places in the world. Here, as you can see, I've got like these sea lanterns kind of dotting the ground, and that's so that when it's like nighttime or just when I'm standing up here, I can just see the ground. I think that's a cool little addition. Let me put this blaze powder away. And let me grab something. So I do have an elytra. That was pretty cool to get. I also have like a ton of end game armor, like mending. I mean, this stuff isn't very end tier, but this is, especially this helmet, because this was like back in the 1.13 days when you could stack protections. Unfortunately, I didn't take so much advantage of that, or I didn't take as much advantage of that as I should have, so I only have 2 pieces of armor. I do have this mending. All of these diamond tools have mending on them. I have an elytra with mending and unbreaking 3, and I have this trident here. The trident was actually very hard to get. It took me a long time. First of all, because it took me a long time to be able to kill a trident drowned, and then they just didn't drop them for a while. It's just based on luck and numbers, I guess. So here you can see I've got these floating melon and pumpkin farms. There used to be other farms like wheat, sugarcane, beetroot, and carrots, I believe, as well. But I moved those all to another location. As you can see, I've got like this big kind of canopy of trees around me. I call it the floating forest. I built this because back like in the first few days of this world, I just put like here you see these pieces of dirt here. These originally I just planted saplings on them, and whenever I needed wood I would just chop them down. Then I just replaced the saplings with torches to light up the area. And so I started planting this floating forest a while ago. This has been a very long-term project of mine. And if I fly up into the air, we can kind of see the aerial view. So if we go into this mode, you can see like just how far it goes. You can see the lines that I'm using to plant the trees. You can see how far back it goes. And then we can kind of get a better overhead shot. We can see even more trees. We can see a bamboo forest there. So yeah, it's not complete though, and it's probably not going to be complete for a while because it takes a lot of saplings to do this. But yeah, I'm just going to wait to land here. So that's the floating forest. The lines of dirt that you saw earlier are just to mark out where the trees need to be planted, but afterwards I just shovel the dirt away. You can see here that there's a sugarcane farm coming up here. It's not really like a farm, it's just I planted a ton of sugarcane because I needed it. But if we go here to the bamboo forest, this bamboo forest is a very old creation. This came back because, you know, when I first spawned, there's that sunken ship over there, and in one of the chests it had bamboo, and I didn't know what bamboo was, so I just planted it, and then as this bamboo stalk grew, I just broke the pieces off and replanted the pieces, and it just grew into this. But it works out because there's a villager nearby that trades sticks for emeralds, so it works out in the end. Here we can see this was one of the first projects I ever undertook. It was just digging this whole thing out as a quarry just because I needed materials. And then I built a mob farm here. This is what this whole contraption is. Originally I built it kind of like the Skyblock way because that's the only mob farm I've ever built, was the Skyblock mob farm. That didn't work out, so I had to watch a tutorial and get this mob farm. You can see some mobs are already falling into it. This was supposed to be a water elevator, but I don't really know how water elevators work, so I just abandoned that. You can see we've already got some nice amount of mob drops there. We have got all these other items here. These are just loose items that I need to take back up there to the main base. But yeah. If we go up here again, we can see a berry farm right over here. Oh, the sun's going down again. We can see a berry farm right over here. This was like not really recent, but it wasn't really old either. It's just a thing I did out of the blue. I just came across some sweet berries and I planted them. I am going to go back to the main base so that I can sleep off the night. So yeah, conduit power is cool. Allows me to breathe underwater and see underwater pretty well. Oh, there's a creeper there. That has never happened before. Alright, I'm just gonna plant some torches here. Alright, let me see. Yeah, this is a bunch of enchantments and other things. This has got like valuable stuff here. Some of the items I used to kill the Ender Dragon, as you can see, were in here. That book and quill was supposed to mark out like important events that happened in this world. I kind of stopped updating that though. Yeah, here we go. Here's the bed. What else? I guess we could cover the farms that are over here. And let me put the elytra away while we're not using it, because I don't want to lose that. That's my only elytra. I've been thinking about going back to get another elytra, but it took me a long time to even find the first one, and I would rather just make the end kind of safe before I do anything. If we go over here, you can kind of already start to see that this area is kind of plain. There's not a lot of trees in it or anything, at least not a lot of oak trees. That's because I chopped them all down. I think I chopped them all down just to get their saplings for the floating forest. And you can see I have this railway. This was supposed to be like, kind of like it just goes to all the important places in the world. It's just like a railroad. But then I realized that you can travel faster if you have boat on ice, so I'm kind of thinking about dismantling that railway. Over here, you can see with the first sunken ship that I ever found, I basically dug it out. I was thinking it would kind of be cool to create like a archaeology type of thing, like you found this ship and you dug it out to expose it and all that. Ultimately, I did not go through with that. Here we've got the animal farm. I've got cows, sheep, pigs, chickens, and rabbits. Although I don't have a ton of animals in it right now, because I kind of haven't been taking care of it and not breeding the animals. But yeah, that was a pretty old thing that I made. That was probably like one of the first dozen things I built in this world. Over here I've got an iron farm. This took a lot of time to build because a lot of the iron farms I used just didn't work. So I had to keep revamping them, and it takes a lot of the time to get villagers up here and then the zombies up there. But eventually I did it, and it works for the most part. It's just that every now and then an iron golem will spawn outside of the farm. It'll spawn like on here, but I just go in and kill them. You can see I've already started to place glass here so that they wouldn't spawn on these places, and you can hear the iron farm at work. And if we go and check, it's already got a lot of iron in it. Right here is the AFK fish farm. I heard they're gonna get rid of it in the next update though. They're gonna get rid of like AFK fishing mechanics, so that's a bummer. If we continue on over here, you can see that I've got a farm here. This is what I was saying when I moved my wheat and carrot and beet farms. I moved them over here. I just kind of like the aesthetic of having like rolling hills covered in wheat and beets and carrots and things like that. As you can see, not all the plants are receiving enough water, so I've got to plant more water sources here. Over here, I've started to take poppies that I collected from the iron farm and just plant them, just because I had nothing better to do with them. Here you can see a continuation of the sugarcane farm, and it also continues over here. I've also started to plant some potatoes, and carrots are over here, and wheat is over here. And then as you can see, I've got this swamp over here, and this is pretty much desolate as well, because I chopped down a ton of the trees in here for saplings for the floating forest. So if we go over here, this is right by my house. You can probably be able to see it. If I go over here, you'll probably be able to see the outline of it. Yeah, there's the outline of the floating forest right there. You can kind of see it in the corner. Let me just get a little bit closer to it. So yeah, that's the floating forest, and if we continue along this way, we can see the first nether portal that I ever built. It actually didn't take me very long to go to the nether. I think I went to the nether on the second or third in-game day of being in this world. And that's because there was a lava pit right near where that portal is, which is why I built it there. And so I just used buckets of lava and buckets of water to build the nether portal. So yeah, you can see it there. This is the lava pool that I dug all the obsidian out of it. You can see this whole area is dug out. I've dug this out for because I needed that for future projects. I think it would be better if we see some of the villages around here though, and then we can go to the nether later. So my elytra is already in my inventory. So the first thing I want to do is come over here. You can see this big chunk of missing water right there, and what that is from when I found my first treasure map and I didn't know how treasure maps worked. So I went over there thinking that that's where the treasure was, and I ended up digging out that whole space looking for a treasure, when in reality I did eventually find the treasure. And it was buried somewhere around here. I don't know if I covered it back up. It was somewhere around here, I know that much. Yeah, it was right here. The treasure was right there. So that's where the treasure was. And then if we go over here, you will start to see this like, I think this is granite, right? Yeah, granite road. Maybe that's diorite? I don't think so though. You'll see this granite road, and it leads up to this village, which is kitted out with cactus walls and sandstone walls and brick roads. So this was the first village I ever found, and I think I called this Nimsis as the name of this village. I think that's the only village name that I remember, but there's a couple more written in the book in quill back at the base. So this is Nimsis, and there's a desert temple within the village, and then inside of the desert temple I've kind of turned it into like where the valuable ores of the village get stored, as well as the nether portal. So this was the first village I ever found, and I ended up, somewhere along the way, I ended up killing a pillager, and I got the bad omen effect, and I walked into this village without knowing what that would do, and so I got the raid triggered, and I didn't know what a raid was or how to stop a raid, so I just ran away from the area, and when I came back a few days later, all the villagers were gone. So I've had to rebuild this village from scratch. So I've got some villagers in there. I think I've almost got one of every profession in the village. As you can see, this is a leather worker. He trades leather, scoot, rabbit hide, and flint for emeralds. So I've just got similar signs like that all around. This is a mine that I built for the village. I kind of like the rustic, like unevenness of the mine. You can see it's just kind of weird, I guess. It's like sloped and not really even or anything like that, and I kind of like that style of mine. There's a sugarcane farm right there, and then because I started rebuilding this village or repopulating it back when pillager parties could spawn anywhere, I decided to make the village have like a kind of a robust defense system. So that's why I put the cactus all around, and then I think in between each excuse me, in between each cactus there's a thing of flowing water that goes down like 2 or 3 blocks, so if any like mob, like a zombie or a skeleton, goes in them, they just drown. These villagers were the first cartographers that I got like maps to ocean monuments from them and things like that. And then you can see besides the sugarcane farm that's here, there's another sugarcane farm over here. So that's the village there. And then if we continue along over here, if we follow this diorite or granite road, I believe it is, we can follow it, and we can see that it makes a turn right here, and it continues along this way, and if we continue along we see that it goes from granite to andesite, and if we follow the andesite path, we can see that it goes to this savannah village over here, and I know I have a name for this village, but I just can't remember it off the top of my head. This village was also destroyed by a raid, and so I rebuilt it with the bamboo lining the village. This is also the village where I have a Fletcher that trades sticks for emeralds, so that's another reason for having bamboo there. And you can see I have this little like dock right here. Not really a dock, it's just where I can come in if I need to get in here. You can also see with all these villagers that the villagers are all like locked inside their house. There's no spaces for any hostile mobs to get them. Yeah, you can see I got the Fletcher there, trade sticks for emeralds. Yeah, this one I'm still working on cleaning up a little bit. It's not totally perfect. They've got a pig farm. They've got 2 pig farms, I believe. And then this tower here was supposed to be like a guard tower. It didn't really come out super nice, but when I wanted to get Potion of Feather Falling to fight the Ender Dragon, it was really good because phantoms would get stuck on the roof. You can see these houses I built myself. Yeah, this is the farm. And then if we go up here, because this village is kind of like craggly, I guess, like there's just, it goes up this side of the hill here, and here's where it gets really messy. So I've got this bridge going to that one right there, that house right there, and I've got this place right here. So yeah, and I think I actually do have one of every profession in here as well. The mine for this village is right here. This is a mine for this village. It's not very dug out, but that's just what it is right now. And then another portal for this village is right there. And then if I continue along this way, you can see that the andesite road turns into a diorite road over here. And if we continue along this way, we have another village. So this village was actually built after the update that removed Vindicators from pillager parties, and it also said that pillager parties can't spawn if the light level, they can only spawn at a certain light level. So basically I torched up this place, and since I didn't have to worry too much about pillager parties spawning near it, the only defense here are sandstone walls and then leaf blocks right here. This village is kind of messy as well, but I think I have one of every profession in here. You can see this is where it really starts to get messy. I've got a cat here that I've got to take back to my house. They've got some cows here. This village also has a name, but I don't know what the name is off the top of my head. This thing, I think I'm going to turn this area into a mine, so I still have to work on it. This was supposed to be the guard tower for this village, but like I said, there's no need to guard it from anything, so it just kind of stopped where it was right here. And then this is the nether portal of the village. So that's that for that village. And then I think if I continue, if I get to fly in here, and I continue along here, there should be another village. Yep, right there. So you can see this one has a stone road this is the latest village that I'm working on. So this one does not have one of every profession. It's not very well lit up either. It's got stone roads. It's got that very disheveled iron golem right there. Yeah, there's not too much to say about this village, except I think if we continue over this way, they've got some sugarcane farms here, and then you can see that little dirt structure right there, and you just get close to it. This dirt structure right here, this has the first villager that I ever found with mending, or I didn't really find him with mending, I just kind of did the lectern trick where you just keep breaking the lectern until he gets new enchantments. and he eventually had the mending one, and so I just got a ton of mending books. I think I spent all my emerald on mending books from him. So that's that on that. And then there's one more thing that's in here, that's in this area, and it's like right around here-ish. As you can see from what I've dug out here, there's a spider spawner in here, and so I have a spider farm. I mainly just use it for like XP and string. So yeah, that's that on that. Then I think we should go to the Nether now. The Nether is not very built up in my world. I haven't made anything special, and I haven't made it into anything special yet, but I should. Let me just put my elytra in my ender chest before I go. Same with the trident, actually. So you can see what I've mainly done in the Nether is I've just made these ice blocks to travel faster, and then I encased it in cobblestone so I'm not constantly getting hit by ghasts and things like that. So if we go over here, this way leads back to the first portal that I ever built. This way down here leads to Nimsys, and then if we go up here, this should lead us somewhere. I think this is going to take us to an ocean monument, I believe. So we just travel along here. Yeah, you can see that. You can see this sand is from when I first came to the Nether. I died. And then when I went to get back my stuff, I lost my way, so I started placing sand everywhere I went. That's a nice sized magma cube. Let's see if we can get any magma cream from them. But yeah, so I started placing sand to kind of mark out where I had been, and I was also looking for a nether fortress, which you can see we're coming up on right now. But I didn't realize the nether fortress was so close to me because I kind of went in the opposite direction. So we have this nether fortress here. I haven't really done too much with it. I don't know if I'm gonna do anything too much to it. Yeah. And then if we go along here, if we go here, then we will go to this area right here. I'm just gonna go ahead and quickly sleep. So it's kind of this island that's kind of devoid of anything, but you can see over here we've got this massive structure here. And I should say, by the way, there are other villages in this world that are just dotted around this world that I've marked out where their coordinates are, but I haven't done anything there yet. I don't actually have a boat, so I'm just going to fly over the area really quickly. So this basically, as you can see, there's an ocean monument that I've dug out, and I built a guardian farm, and that is what I mainly use for XP. Originally I was using an enderman farm, but then that's just way too dangerous, especially being so close to the void. So I just decided to do a guardian farm instead. And then if we go over here, this is the first ocean monument I ever found. I found this through a map from one of the cartographers in Nimsys. And this is also a completed project as well. So is the guardian farm, of course, but this is basically a completed project. I think the only thing I have left to do would be to place the sea lanterns to kind of light up the area. So I dug out this whole area, and originally I dug it out in a square shape, and then I didn't dig it out, I drained it rather. I just placed a bunch of sand and gravel, and then I dug that out. And then so this was a pretty difficult project for me because first of all it's a really big project. I've never really done anything like this, and then also because I've never built anything circular in Minecraft. So if I were to fly overhead of this, you would be able to see like some weird kind of like it doesn't really look super circular, but it's good enough for me, especially being a first attempt. Um, and then you can see obviously I built this into like there's a tree here, and I've got this staircase leading down, and there's vines growing. I think the inside of this is pretty empty though. I plan on just using this for storage. Just put extra chests in here. But I pretty much dug out the entire inside as well. So yeah, this thing is completely barren. But yeah, this was a pretty cool project as well because this was my first time ever like dealing with the ocean monument and having to kill the elder guardians and things like that. So that's all pretty cool. And then I'm just gonna go back to the nether really quickly to get somewhere. So that's that right there. And then if we were to continue along this way, this would lead us to another portal that takes us to the stronghold, but I'm going to get to that later. Right now I want to show something else. Somewhere in the nether there's a place that leads to a woodland mansion that I found. It's very far away, so I'm not going to do it in the overworld, but basically what I wanted to show was that I tore down the woodland mansion. There's literally nothing of it left, and it's just pretty interesting to see that. And it gave me a ton of material too, but there is no actual loot in the tower, in the mansion I mean. And I remember one time, like when I was first entering the mansion, I got hit by one of those guys that casts the Vex on you. He casted a Vex on me and they killed me. And then I was like 10,000 blocks away from my house, and my bed, I had not slept, so I respawned back at my original base 10,000 blocks away. And at this point I had Elytra on me, I had shulker box on me, I had my endgame gear on me, but I didn't have an ender chest on me, so I was like, oh, I just lost all that stuff. And then that's when I built the nether portal to it. But I guess for some reason I was so far away that the chunks didn't load, so it didn't like do the despawn countdown, so I got all my stuff back. So that was pretty cool. I should say I also have a gold farm in the nether, but I don't know where that is either, because that's above the bedrock, and it's also near where the route to the woodland mansion starts. So if I can't find the woodland mansion, then I'm not going to be able to find this. Alright, we go through this portal. You can see this right here. So this is another ocean monument, and this is an ongoing project. As you can see, excuse me. This is an ongoing project. So I have just finished the process of draining the ocean monument, so there's no water in it left. And if you'll notice, when I first came through the nether portal, my portal is right here, but I came out on this side. I dropped and took fall damage over here, and you can see there's some other weird stuff going on here. That's because the chunks of this world got mixed around somehow. Like my computer crashed, and then when I rebooted my computer crashed while I was playing Minecraft, and I was like doing stuff here. And then when I rebooted my computer, all the chunks had been mixed around. So as you can see these huge, just unnatural looking platforms that's just where random chunks got placed. And it also mixed around the the ocean monument, so I had to kind of rebuild it, just looking at pictures online and knowing its symmetry and things like that. You can see if I go over here, there might be some remnants of just mishmashed chunks. Yeah. So you can see what happened over here. I mean, it's just a complete mess. But yeah, so that's the story on this one. I do want to turn it into something, but I don't know what I'm going to turn this one into. I know I want to flatten it out and put it on level ground like I did with the first ocean monument. So, yeah. So if I fly it over here, we'll get to another project that I'm currently working on. This was actually, I was working on this just before I started making this video. Oh. I don't even know what this is. I've never... Oh. Free chests, I guess? Yeah, I'll take them. I didn't know these were here. Huh. That's weird. Anyways, if we... Oh, I didn't mean to use 2 fireworks. If we go over here, you're gonna see another ocean monument right there. And so yeah, you'll see this wall right here. Let me get an overhead shot of this. So it's this huge wall along here, and there's a smaller wall right here. And so basically what I'm doing is I'm just draining out this whole thing. And that's because I have a witch farm right there. A witch's hut used to sit right here. And you can see I've got some cats that have spawned from the witch hut. I've got a beacon here. I killed some wither skeletons, got some of their skeleton skulls, and then I fought the wither, and that was a very difficult fight because I didn't use any potions or anything at first. I ended up just getting my ass kicked, and then so I finally used some potions of strength and regen, killed the wither, got the beacon. Yeah, but I need another one. I need more beacons. So I'm draining this area out. I've already drained this area out. Right now I'm working on this section over here. And basically what I do now is I've got like 3 stacks of sponges. So I just kind of make these columns here. Sometimes I'll make grids and I'll just drain them out. And then I'm working on mining away this. I want to mine it all down to bedrock and then replace it with a layer of glass so nothing can spawn there to give me maximum witch spawns. I've started to go into like the caves in here and kind of torch them up. You can see there's some caves right there. There's an embedded mine shaft that runs through here. And then if we go over to the witch farm, you can hear it working. And it's got us a lot of loot. So, that is that on the witch farm. And then I think the only place left to go now might be the end, because I can't find the road to the woodland mansion. I also can't find the gold farm because of that. But before we go to the nether, before we go to the end rather, I'm just gonna go home and put a pumpkin over my head because I don't really like going to the end without a pumpkin on my head. I did die in the end once when I was farming my ender farm. I accidentally looked one of the endermen in the eyes, and somehow he teleported near me and knocked me into the void. I ended up losing all my stuff, my god tier gear, and this was like literally the day after I had made my trident, the day after I found the trident, and I enchanted it with mending. and I was going to go mend it because it was at like low durability, and he knocks me out the edge, and I lose all my stuff. And then so I just loaded up a backup of the world, and yeah, I lost some progress, and yeah, it's kind of cheaty, but it was end game stuff, and you know what, I benefited it. I benefited from that in the long run. And besides, now I have a guardian farm, so I really don't go to the end too much. The only time I go to the end would the only reason I would see for myself to go to the end is to get more shulkers or more elytra, or to make the end safe. But yeah. Okay, so I'm back and I've got flint and steel here. So I'm just going to light up the portal. And then so we're here at the stronghold, and now I'm going to put on the pumpkin, and I should have brought some lower tier armor, but I didn't. I'm just going to put all this away because I don't want to lose any of it. Okay, so now we're in the end here. You can see I fought the Ender Dragon. I beat him. That's where the end portal gateway is. I was building some trees here for some reason, I don't know why. That is the first Ender Guardian farm. It's the first Enderman farm I built. That didn't really work though. So I built another one that's over there. I'm not going to go over to it because I really don't like the end and I don't want to die here, but you're just going to have to trust me that there's a Enderman farm over there. And it works. It works really well. The problem is that it's just too risky. So I use the Guardian farm, and it gives me a similar amount of XP, but with much less of a risk of dying. So with the end out of the way, I think that's going to do it for this video. I don't think there's anything else I left out. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.